So today of course there's only one character to talk about, and that is of course Blue Ocean Neon. I spent quite a bit of time testing her out to really see what she is about. I'm gonna be sharing with you guys the things that I uncovered, so if you find this video useful, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and let's get on with the content. So first of all, I don't really feel like I have to explain her kit that much, because as a DPS character, Blue Ocean Neon's kit is very simple and easy to understand. So to put it simply, her skill 1 and skill 2 only applies to herself, and these two skills let her deal damage depending on the enemy type. So for her skill 1, if the enemy has breakable parts, Blue Ocean Neon will be dealing more damage to them. And for her skill 2, if your enemy is weak against water, then Blue Ocean Neon is going to deal more damage. And for both her skill 1 and skill 2, the values from these abilities will increase the more times you hit the skill condition. So for her skill 1, the more times you use her burst, the more damage she will do to enemy parts. And for her skill 2, the more times you enter full burst, the higher damage she will do as strong element. Now when it comes to her burst, I was actually curious on how this actually works, because before she was even released, I was skeptical about this because the damage multiplier is very low. So I did quite a bit of testing and this is what I found. So based on my testing, using her burst ability or not makes little to no difference outside of fire type enemies. Sometimes, she even deals around 500,000 more damage when she is not using her burst. But you can argue that this is just from the randomness in critical hits. But even then, her damage using her burst compared to when she doesn't is way too close to each other, because you would expect her to deal more damage when she uses her burst. But that is not even the craziest thing, because when she is actually up against enemies that are weak against water, I'm not kidding you, she is doing significantly more damage when she is not using her burst. During my testing, when Blue Ocean Neon is in my normal rotation, where she is able to use her burst, she deals around 8 to 9 million damage. But if she is not using her burst at all, she does well over 12 million damage, which is insane. And this is not just a one-off thing. Blue Ocean Neon didn't just happen to deal 4 million more damage because she managed to get more critical hits. I ran this test almost 10 times for each one, so for both rotations with and without using her burst. And the results are pretty much consistent. She is always doing around 3 to 4 million more damage when she is not using her burst. Yes, her skill levels are only at level 4 during my testing, but the thing is that a character shouldn't be doing less damage when they use their burst, because that is the complete opposite of what a burst ability should do. And even if I decide to upgrade her burst ability even more, I will only get a 0.5% or 1% increase in damage per level. So that wouldn't really make much of a difference. The main reason why she is doing less damage is because of the scaling on her burst. At level 4, it is going to deal 8% of her attack as damage, and double that if the enemy has the fire element. And this alternate weapon also has 10 bullets. Compare that to her normal attacks that deal 5.57% of her attack as damage, and 200% when attacking the enemy core. Plus, Neon's normal weapon also has a maximum ammo capacity of 300, and even more if you have ammo capacity buffs, which, during my testing, I was actually using the Wingman cube. So just based on that, it's pretty obvious why she is doing less damage. You also have to remember that the only benefits that she is getting out of using her burst is, for one, she deals AoE damage for 7 seconds, and she is activating her skill 1. Her skill 1 activates when she uses her burst, and it gives Blue Ocean Neon additional damage to enemy parts. But the thing is that her damage after using her burst is so small that I can't even see the damage that she is doing. But when I start attacking the boss part using her normal weapon, then I can actually see the damage being done. So my conclusion was that the damage from her skill 1 is not effective at all. I just find it very weird that her kit works this way, because I can't think of any other character that is basically being held back when they use their burst. Every other character in the game gets a benefit from their burst, but the same thing is not true for Blue Ocean Neon. So if you already have this character, or maybe you're looking to pull for her because you like her design or whatever, then I would really suggest that you try using her without using her burst. So basically what will happen is that you will be stuck with the 1-1-3 formation. So you'll be using 1 burst 1 character, 1 burst 2 character, and you'll be using 3 burst type 3 characters. So for my team, which is basically the same team that I talked about in my pre-release videos, the only thing that I changed was the position for Privity. Because normally, if you're running a 1-1-3 formation, you would want Privity to be your 3rd burst type 3 character. Because when it comes to Privity, you don't really need to use her burst because you're only after her skill 1. But because Blue Ocean Neon deals more damage when she doesn't use her burst, she will now be your 3rd burst type 3 character. The only thing is that sometimes I switch out Viper with Rupee, because Rupee is just better in some stages. But for my testing, I pretty much used all these characters except for Viper because I switch her out sometimes. Alright, so for this section, I actually made a post yesterday asking you guys if you have any questions when it comes to Blue Ocean Neon. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick out some questions. So for the first one, is she good for the Elysion Tower? Well, I would say that she can be good sometimes. It just really depends if your enemy is weak against fire. But just like what I said in my previous videos, pulling for a character because they're good for the Tribe Tower is not really a good reason, because you have to consider how many gems you have to spend versus the amount of rewards that you will actually get from the tribe tower, because it's more likely that you will have to spend thousands of gems just to get the character. So let's say that you spend 12,000 or maybe even 9,000 gems just to get Blue Ocean Neon, and that is being generous. And then after you pull for her, you manage to beat 5 stages in the Elysion tower. But with that said, best case scenario, you will earn a couple hundred gems, plus a few Elysian molds that won't even guarantee you a good character. So if you ask me, I don't really feel like it's worth it to pull for characters because of any manufacturer specific tower, maybe except for Pilgrim because we only have a handful of them. And for the next one, this is not really a question, but I see a lot of people saying that you should pull for a character because they're limited. So referring to characters like Admiracle Fairy, Winter Shopper Rupee, and the new characters Blue Ocean Neon and Big Goddess Mary. And for me, just because a character is limited doesn't mean you have to pull for them. And this applies to all the limited characters in the game. And I did not actually pull for all of them. And that one character that I skipped was Admiracle Fairy. Up until this day, I don't actually regret not pulling for her. Because there was never a time where I was like, I wish I had this character so that I can do this and that. That never happened. Because when she got first released, I studied her kit, and her kit is very specific to PvP. Yes, you can use her in PvE in some very niche teams, but I would say that most of the time you will only use her in PvP. And for me, the rewards in PvP don't really justify pulling for a PvP specific character, especially if you end up spending a ton of gems. And when it comes to the ones that I actually pulled and had a lot of experience with, and the best example of this is Winter Rupee, I never really felt like she is a must-have. I only pulled for her because I liked her design. But in the last few months, she was actually getting better and better because we were getting characters that fit her kit very well. But aside from that, I feel like the way they design these characters, or these limited time characters specifically, they make it so that they're very niche. Because you wouldn't want a game that will have a character that is very strong, but if you don't end up getting them within a certain time frame, then you will lose the chance of getting that character forever, which is a very sucky feeling, especially for newer players. So I can understand why they don't make these characters very strong, but they should at least make these characters usable, because as of now, Big Goddess Mary is the only limited character that I will recommend. So yeah, that is pretty much everything I have for this video. This video wasn't a normal guide video that I always do, because I feel like Blue Ocean Neon's kit is very easy to understand, so I just wanted to highlight her burst because that is the only thing that I feel like needs more explaining. So yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to put it down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.